The night sky above Earth wall, but far beyond the stars, something moved. A fleet of alien warships, larger than any mountain on Earth, cut through the dark of space. Their engines glowed red, their weapons charged, and their commanders whispered with pride, "Earth, a weak little planet," one alien general said, his scaled hands gripping the rail of his command deck. "They have no shields, no advanced weapons, no true army." This will be easy. The aliens had been watching Earth for years, studying humans like children study insects. They saw humans fighting each other in small wars, using old machines compared to their own advanced technology. They saw no starships, no space armies, nothing to fear. To them, Earth was a fruit ready to be picked. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky, unaware of what was coming. In the great cities, the lights of towers shone bright, cars moved through busy streets, and families rested in their homes. But suddenly, the stars above seemed to vanish. Something massive blocked the sky. It was the alien fleet. Hundreds of warships appeared at once, silent and dark, their shapes like black knives cutting across the heavens. The moonlight faded, and the world below trembled. Sirens began to cry across nations. Military radars screamed with signals never seen before. Presidents, generals, and leaders rushed to secure communication. But nothing could hide the truth. Earth was under attack. The first city to see them was New York. People stopped in the streets, eyes frozen upward as a shadow swallowed the skyline. Children pointed, parents screamed. Phones recorded the sky turning dark as if the night itself was falling down. And then, with a single command, the alien fleet opened fire. Blue beams of plasma rained down, striking the ocean near the coast. The water boiled. Waves rose higher. Then buildings and shockwaves shattered glass across the city. The people panicked. Crowds ran through the streets. Cars crashed. Voices filled the air with screams. The aliens watched and laughed. To them, this was entertainment. On the flagship, the alien general smiled, his sharp teeth glistening. They are running already. Fragile, weak. This planet will fall in a single day. But not everyone was running. On the ground, human soldiers gathered, their weapons shaking in their hands, but their eyes steady with fire. Ordinary men and women stood together. In their hearts, fear burned. But behind the fear was something else: defiance. The first alien troop carriers descended, huge ships like iron beasts dropping into the streets. Their doors opened, and tall armored aliens stepped out, their bodies covered in steel, their claws sharp, their weapons glowing with energy. The aliens roared as they marched forward, ready to crush whatever stood in their way. But the humans did not kneel. They fired, their bullets tearing through the air, their rockets flying toward the sky. The aliens laughed at first. Their shields caught the weapons. But then something unexpected happened. A small squad of humans had hidden on rooftops. They waited until the aliens marched into the open. Then they triggered a trap explosives hidden beneath the streets. The ground erupted in fire, and several alien soldiers were thrown into the air. For the first time, the alien laughter stopped. Their shields had failed against something so primitive, so simple. The general narrowed his eyes. These humans, they are not afraid? More human resistance grew. In one city, police fought beside soldiers, beside farmers, beside students. Everyone picked up whatever weapon they had, guns, knives, even metal pipes. They knew they could die, but none of them wanted to bow. The aliens looked down on this chaos and felt something strange. They had fought many worlds, they had crushed many species, but never before had they seen such stubborn courage. Still, the fleet continued its reign of fire. Explosions lit up the world. Smoke covered the skies. The alien general raised his hand. This is only the beginning. By sunrise, Earth will be ours. But far below, in a hidden bunker, a human commander spoke into a radio. His voice was steady, almost calm. Hold your ground. Do not let them break you. We have surprises waiting. The aliens thought Earth was defenseless. They thought humans were fragile. But in the shadows of the burning cities, Earth was preparing to show them the truth. The invasion had begun. But the war for Earth was only just starting. The alien fleet thought victory was certain. They had firepower, shields, and numbers beyond anything Earth could imagine. They believed humans would fall in hours, surrendering like weak animals. But they were wrong. Across Earth, something powerful began to rise, not in the sky, but in the hearts of people. Humans were afraid, yes, but fear did not break them. Fear became fire, and fire became resistance. In Washington, the president sat in a bunker, sweat dripping. From his brow, military generals shouted around him, pointing at maps glowing red with invasion sites. The skies above America, Asia, Europe, Africa, all burned with alien ships. It looked hopeless. But then a calm voice filled the room. It was General Carter, an old soldier who had fought many wars. He stood tall, his eyes burning with steel. "We will not surrender," he said. "Every man, every woman, every child who can fight, will fight. We are human, and we do not kneel." His words spread across radios and emergency broadcasts. All over the world, humans heard them. In a farm in Brazil, a young boy gripped his father's hunting rifle. In a Japanese city, firefighters carried axes not just for flames, but for battle. In the deserts of Africa, tribes gathered with spears beside soldiers holding rifles. Everywhere, people stood ready. The aliens landed in London next. Giant troop carriers smashed into the streets, crushing cars under their weight. Tall armored warriors marched out, their weapons glowing with energy. They fired into the crowds, expecting screams and surrender, but what they got was fury. Human resistance fighters rose from the rubble. Molotov cocktails burned against alien armor. Homemade bombs exploded in the streets. The aliens staggered back, shocked that these fragile creatures dared to fight head-on. In Paris, a group of young students used drones to carry explosives into alien tanks. The machines exploded in fire, sending alien troops flying. In Moscow, old soldiers dragged out hidden weapons from Cold War bunkers. Missiles long forgotten now roared back to life. In villages of India, people used fire, stones, anything they could hold. The world was fighting as one. The alien commanders grew angry. "This is chaos," one snarled. "They should be broken." Yet they rise again and again. Another hissed. "They waste their lives." They cannot win. But deep down, the aliens felt something they had not felt in centuries. Doubt on the battlefield in New York. A young soldier named Daniel stood with his squad. He was only 19, barely trained, his hands shaking on his rifle. Beside him, an older woman, a retired teacher, held a shotgun. Beside her, a firefighter gripped an axe. Together, they waited as alien soldiers marched closer. The aliens raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Daniel's squad launched a desperate attack. Grenades rolled under alien feet, gunfire rattled through the air. Daniel screamed as he charged. "We are not weak." The explosion lit the night. Several aliens fell, their bodies crashing into the street. The survivors roared in anger, charging forward, but Daniel did not stop. Neither did the teacher, nor the firefighter, nor anyone else. For every human who fell, two more seemed to rise. The aliens began to understand. This battle would not be easy. This species was different. This species was dangerous. Far above, on the alien flagship, General Zorith watched with narrowed eyes. He had crushed 100 worlds, destroyed countless armies. Never once had he seen a people so stubborn, so unbroken. "These humans," he growled, "they are not fighting to win. They are fighting so they will never bow." On Earth, the resistance grew stronger. Hackers broke into alien signals, confusing their commands. Engineers reprogrammed alien tech they captured, turning it back against them. In hidden labs, scientists worked day and night on secret weapons. Everywhere, humans adapted fast, clever, relentless. Still, the cost was heavy. Cities burned, millions fled. Skies turned black with smoke. Families cried as they were torn apart, but the tears hardened into anger, and anger hardened into strength. One night, deep in the forests of South America, an alien squad hunted humans. They thought the jungle was theirs. But then the trees came alive. Guerrilla fighters rained bullets and arrows from above. Explosives hidden in roots blew apart alien machines. Even the animals joined. Jaguars and snakes moved in the shadows. The jungle itself became a weapon. The aliens retreated from the forest in shame. Their commander muttered, "This planet fights with teeth and claws. It bleeds us dry." Back in New York, Daniel's squad regrouped in the ruins of a subway station. His hands bled, his body shook with exhaustion. But in his eyes burned the same fire seen across the world. He looked at the others and whispered, "They think we are weak. Let's prove them wrong." Above them, in the skies, the alien fleet still glowed with power. They had weapons humans could not match. But now, for the first time, they were not so certain. This was no easy conquest. This was a war, and deep in hidden bunkers, human leaders whispered of something else. A plan that the aliens did not know. A weapon they had not yet seen. The resistance had begun, and Earth was preparing its first strike. The alien fleet spread across the skies like a storm of iron cities. Burned, oceans boiled, and still the humans fought. But the aliens could not understand why. Why did these fragile creatures resist when defeat was certain? On the flagship, General Zorath stood before the massive star map. Red lights blinked across the globe, marking every battlefield. Yet despite their superior weapons, the humans were not breaking. "They are stubborn insects," Zorath growled. "But even insects can be crushed." One of his commanders stepped forward, his armored body shining with green light. "My general, our losses grow. They're traps. They're chaos. It slows us. We must end this quickly." Zorath's claws tapped against the table. "Then burn their cities. Leave nothing. Show them despair." Orders were given. The fleet began to charge its weapons. But down below, deep under the earth, humanity was preparing something different. Beneath the ruins of Washington, D.C., in an underground base, General Carter walked through a steel door guarded by soldiers. The air inside hummed with energy. At the center of the chamber stood a machine, tall and glowing, its core spinning. With blue light, it was no ordinary weapon. It was something humans had sworn never to use. "Are we ready?" Carter asked, his voice low. A scientist with tired eyes nodded. "Almost, General. That power is dangerous, unstable. If we use it, there may be no turning back." Carter's jaw tightened. "Good, because if we don't use it, there will be no Earth left to save." The aliens did not know. For years, humans had been experimenting in secret, not in the open skies, but in hidden bunkers and remote deserts, studying energy, quantum fields, and weapons far beyond their normal level of technology. They were not as weak as they looked. Back on the battlefield, Daniel and his squad fought through the ruins of New York. Smoke filled the air, and the ground shook with alien bombardment. "Keep moving," Daniel shouted, pulling the teacher and the firefighter forward. Above them, alien drones buzzed like hornets, firing beams into the streets. Suddenly, Daniel's radio crackled. "This is Eagle Command. Hold your ground. We are bringing something new." The soldiers around him froze. Something new? What could that mean? That night, the humans revealed their first hidden power. In the deserts of Nevada, a massive hangar opened. From within, Black aircraft rose into the sky. They were not ordinary jets. They had been built in secret, using alien tech recovered from old crashes, long denied by governments. Their sleek frames shimmered with cloaking fields. Their weapons glowed with plasma energy stolen and rebuilt by human hands. As they rose into the night, the alien fleet detected them. Dozens of ships turned, weapons ready. But when the first human strike hit, the aliens were stunned. A plasma beam ripped through an alien destroyer, cutting it in half. The ship exploded in fire, its wreckage falling like burning stars. On the flagship, General Zorath slammed his clawed fist against the table. What is this? They should not have this technology. His second-in-command hissed. They are adapting. Faster than any species we have faced. In New York, Daniel's squad watched as the skies lit up with fire. Human fighters danced through the air, cloaked and fast, striking alien ships like wolves against giants. The aliens fired back, but for every human fighter destroyed, 2 more appeared. The people on the ground cheered. For the first time, they saw hope, but this was only the beginning. In Siberia, hidden under ice, another weapon woke. Missile silos long abandoned roared back to life. But these were not nuclear missiles. They were something worse. Experimental warheads designed to disrupt alien shields. When they launched, streaking across the sky, the aliens laughed at first, but then their shields flickered, one by one. Massive alien ships dropped their protection, leaving them open. On the ground, human soldiers and civilians struck back with everything they had. Rocket fire, artillery, even old tanks. Now, with the alien shields gone, their weapons began to bite. Alien blood spilled across the streets, green and glowing. The resistance was no longer just survival. It was a counterattack. Still, the cost was high. Daniel's squad lost members that night. The teacher who had stood bravely beside him was struck by alien fire. She fell with a soft smile, whispering, "Don't stop, Daniel. Don't stop fighting." Her words became a flame in his chest. He gritted his teeth, raised his rifle, and roared at the aliens. "We will never stop." The aliens, once so certain, now felt unease. Every battle they fought bled them more. Every city they tried to crush turned into a trap. Every human they killed seemed to rise in spirit 100 times stronger. General Zorath stood at his window, watching Earth's blue glow. "This world is not weak," he muttered. "This world is dangerous." But what truly haunted him was the unknown. Because his sensors had detected strange energy deep inside the planet, something powerful, hidden, waiting. What are they hiding? He whispered to himself. What is buried in that world? The humans knew. They had kept their secret for decades. A weapon not of war, but of survival. And now, as the alien fleet pressed harder, humanity was preparing to unleash it. The aliens had expected a broken planet. What they had found was something else, a species that refused to bow, a world that would fight with every weapon, every secret, every drop of blood. The battle was far from over. But the aliens were beginning to understand a terrible truth. Earth was not just another planet. Earth was a trap, and they had walked right into it. The alien fleet had crushed many worlds. They had fought species with laser weapons, star fleets, and great armies, but they had never fought a world like Earth, a world that was alive in ways they could not understand. General Zorath stood in his flagship, staring at the planet below. Reports from his commanders were worse with every passing hour. Humans fight in every shadow. One officer said, "They are everywhere." "They do not stop," another added, his voice tense. "Their weapons are primitive, but they use them with madness. They sacrifice themselves without fear." Zorath's claws tightened. "They are only flesh. Crush them harder. Burn their forests. Destroy their seas." And so the order was given. Alien warships moved over the Amazon jungle, their weapons turned downward, ready to burn the green sea of trees into ash. But when the first troops landed, something strange happened. The jungle did not stay silent. It moved. Alien soldiers marched through thick vines, their heavy boots crushing roots and plants. Their scanners flickered, showing heat signatures all around. But there were no humans. Only animals. A soldier growled. Weak creatures. Harmless. But then, without warning, a jaguar leapt from the shadows, its teeth sinking into alien armor. Another came from the trees, claws tearing at glowing flesh. The aliens fired, beams of energy cutting through the air. But the jungle erupted. Poisonous snakes slithered into their camps. Swarms of insects stung their exposed skin. Even the ground itself betrayed them. Hidden pits collapsed beneath their feet, filled with sharpened spikes prepared by human hands. Alien screams filled the night. The jungle devoured them. Elsewhere, in the deserts of Africa, another alien force advanced. They laughed at the sand, thinking it lifeless. But the desert was not empty. Tribes who had lived under the burning sun for centuries led the resistance. They struck from the dunes, vanishing like ghosts. When night fell, lions stalked the alien patrols. Their roars shook the stars, and alien soldiers found themselves hunted by golden eyes in the dark. One commander shouted in rage, "They use beasts! They fight like savages." But deep down, he felt fear, because those savages had turned the very land into a weapon. In the oceans, the same story unfolded. Alien machines sank into the deep, searching for human submarines. But what they found was worse. From the shadows of the abyss came giants, whales slamming into their ships, sharks tearing through their armor. And in the chaos, human divers planted explosives. The seas exploded with fire, sending alien wreckage floating to the surface. The aliens had thought Earth was defenseless. Now they began to see the truth. This was not just a planet, it was a predator. Daniel and his squad saw it with their own eyes in the ruins of New York. They had taken shelter in Central Park, hiding among broken trees and smoke. At night, alien patrols entered, searching for survivors. But they did not leave. Wolves came. Out of the darkness, moving like shadows, one by one, alien soldiers fell, dragged into the trees. Their screams echoing, Daniel whispered to the firefighter beside him. They thought they were hunters. Now they're prey. Above, General Zorath slammed his fist on the control panel. This world is cursed. He roared, even its animals fight like demons. Even its forests bleed against us. His officers exchanged uneasy glances. This was not the war they had expected. Reports came in from across the globe. In Australia, alien squads burned the outback, but kangaroos and snakes harassed their camps. In Siberia, frozen wolves hunted them under the northern lights. In the mountains of South America, eagles dove from the skies, striking alien eyes with deadly precision. Everywhere, Earth resisted, not just with humans, but with nature itself. But it was more than animals. It was the humans' bond with their world. They knew every river, every cave, every storm, and they used it all. An alien commander once mocked, "They fight with sticks and fire." But after his army was swallowed by an avalanche triggered by human hands, no one laughed again. Daniel's squad became part of this living war. They planted traps in ruins, guided animals away from danger, and struck whenever the aliens grew careless. They were tired, hungry, and scarred, but the fire in their eyes never dimmed. One night, Daniel sat in the rubble, staring at the stars. He whispered to himself, "They came to conquer Earth, but Earth itself is fighting back." On the flagship, Zorath stood alone in his chamber. He looked down at the burning planet. He had conquered worlds with great armies, but this world was different. This world was wild, unpredictable, dangerous. He felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear, he whispered to himself. We may have awakened something we cannot control. And he was right. because humans had only begun to fight. The jungle, the desert, the ocean, the mountains. All were weapons, but humanity still had secrets hidden deep underground. Weapons even more terrifying than beasts or storms. The predators of Earth had risen, but soon something far greater would rise with them. The true power of humanity. The alien fleet hung above Earth like a shadow. The commanders believed victory was already theirs. They had seen Earth's defenses' primitive missiles, slow ships, and weak shields. To them, humans were nothing but prey waiting for the blade. But something felt wrong. The alien admiral, Xyler, stood inside his warship's command deck. His 6 eyes scanned the hologram of Earth. His instincts told him this battle would not be simple. The humans were too calm. Their transmissions had stopped. No pleas for mercy. No panic. Only silence. Why? Are they not begging? He hissed. Every world we conquer surrenders. Why do these humans wait? None of his officers answered. They didn't know. On the ground, human leaders gathered deep inside a bunker. General Hayes looked at the glowing map. Red dots showed. The alien fleet above. They think we are defenseless, he said, his voice steady. Let them believe it. The trap is ready. For decades, humanity had hidden weapons. Weapons no alien spy had ever seen. Not missiles, not ships, but something different, something older, darker, and more powerful. Dr. Elena Carter whispered, "Do you think it will work?" Hayes only nodded. It has to. If it doesn't, Earth falls today. Above, the aliens prepared their final strike. Thousands of ships charged their weapons, ready to burn cities to ash. Fire, Admiral Xyler commanded. But before the order was carried out, the stars moved. No, not stars. From the blackness of space, massive objects appeared. Dark satellites, invisible until now, came alive. They released a strange pulse across the fleet. Alien weapons went silent. Engines died. Screens flickered into nothing. What is happening? Screamed one alien officer. The humans had unleashed a hidden system, the Black Net. A web of satellites designed not to destroy ships, but to choke them. It jammed alien power, froze their weapons, and turned their technology into useless metal. Admiral Xyler roared in anger. Impossible. How could primitives build this? But the truth was worse. Humans had not built it alone. The system carried traces of alien tech stolen from old invaders who had once dared to touch Earth. The humans had studied every enemy who came before. They had learned. They had adapted. And now they had turned that knowledge into a weapon of silence. On Earth's surface, the people watched the sky light up. Alien ships floated powerless, like insects caught in a web. Cheers erupted, but General Hayes remained cold. This is only the beginning, he said. They think they can take us. Now they'll learn why no one ever comes back. In space, human ships rose small, fast, and armed with weapons the aliens had never seen. They moved like hunters, circling prey. Admiral Xyler's confidence broke. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. This was a trap, he whispered. And then the first alien ship exploded. The trap had been sprung. The battlefield was no longer just a place of war. It had become a stage where fate itself was waiting to reveal its final act. Smoke curled into the skies like dying serpents. Alien war machines groaned and shattered under the weight of human resistance. And the once proud invaders were now stumbling, caught between disbelief and fear. But deep beneath the chaos, something darker was unfolding, something that neither human nor alien had truly prepared for. General Kale, the alien commander who had once looked down on Earth as nothing more than a weak and defenseless world, now stood trembling in the ruins of his warship. He had witnessed human endurance, human unpredictability, and most terrifying of all, a human ability to adapt and strike when least expected. The invaders had thought they were hunters, but Kale now saw with chilling clarity that they were prey caught in a game they never understood. At the heart of the battlefield, a single human stood, not with grand weapons, not with alien technology, but with a fire in his eyes that burned brighter than any plasma cannon. The aliens whispered his name across comms with dread. The human they once mocked as slow, fragile, and beneath notice was now their nightmare. Each move he made rewrote the balance of war. Each decision twisted the invaders' strategies into dust. It was not just strength they faced. It was something far more dangerous, human defiance. But then came the moment no one had predicted. The ground beneath the ruined city trembled, as if the earth itself was answering the cries of its children. From the shadows of destruction, ancient weapons that even humans had forgotten began to awaken, long-buried defense systems, remnants of a forgotten age when humanity had prepared for enemies among the stars. Powered back to life, energy rippled through the ruins like veins of lightning. And suddenly the aliens realized the truth. Earth had never been defenseless. It had been waiting. A silence fell across the battlefield, broken only by the distant hum of colossal machines rising from beneath the soil. Alien soldiers dropped their weapons, their eyes wide with terror. For the planet they thought was weak now stood as a living fortress. And standing at the center, the human warrior raised his hand, signaling not just victory, but the turning of history itself. The invaders' fleets in orbit panicked, their formations breaking, their leaders screaming orders that no one followed. Because in that moment, they understood something far worse than defeat. They had not only underestimated humans, they had awakened something they could never control. And for the first time since their species had set foot among the stars, the aliens knew the taste of true fear. The turning point had come, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield was silent now, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the heavy silence after a storm, when the air is full of smoke, dust, and the weight of what had just happened. The alien fleet that had once stretched across the skies was broken. Their proud warships were nothing but drifting wrecks. Their commanders had fallen one after another, and their soldiers either lay defeated or had fled into the stars, and yet the humans still stood, bloodied, battered, but unbroken, their weapons still in hand, their eyes still burning with the fire of defiance. The surviving alien leaders gathered in a damaged cruiser that still floated in orbit, their faces pale with disbelief, their voices trembling as they argued with one another. "This is impossible," one hissed. "We brought more ships than this planet has cities, and yet we were pushed back. What kind of monsters are these humans?" "They are not monsters," another said, staring at the broken surface of Earth below. "They are something else, something we do not understand." Back on the ground, the human commanders met in a ruined bunker, lit only by flickering lamps. They were exhausted, but there was no triumph in their eyes, only a heavy awareness of what they had survived. Colonel Harris leaned forward, his hands shaking slightly as he spoke. "They came here thinking Earth was weak, defenseless, an easy conquest, but they were wrong, and now they know why no one attacks Earth." His words spread far beyond that bunker, for the alien leaders were listening too, through intercepted transmissions. The truth was not in the weapons, though human weapons had proven deadly enough. The truth was in the spirit of humanity itself. When an alien force destroyed a city, humans did not surrender. They rebuilt and struck back harder. When a human soldier fell, 10 more rose in his place. When the enemy thought fear would break them, it only made them stronger. And then came the final message, broadcast across the stars, carried on human frequencies. It was not spoken with anger, not with cruelty, but with a calmness that chilled every alien who heard it. "This is Earth," the voice said. "We do not seek war. We do not seek conquest. But if you come to our home with fire, we will show you what fire truly means. You came here thinking humans were weak, but you have learned the truth. Earth is not weak. Earth remembers, Earth fights, Earth endures. That is the lesson of this world. The alien council listened in silence, none daring to speak, for they knew this truth would spread through every empire, every kingdom, every warlord across the galaxy. The lesson was clear. Earth was not to be touched. Earth was not to be conquered. Earth was to be feared and respected. And as the battered human soldiers stood beneath their torn sky, they knew the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The lesson of Earth had been written in fire, blood, and unbreakable will, and it would echo across the stars for all time.